Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. It doesn't knock politely at the door. It crashes in like a storm, loud, merciless, and unforgiving. Some storms come as heartbreak, some come as failure, others come as silence. When nothing seems to work, and the world forgets you exist. This is the story of Daniel, a young man, ordinary on the outside, but carrying an extraordinary dream inside his heart. Daniel was the kind of man who believed in building something of his own. Not a mansion, not riches, but a place that belonged to him. A place where people could come together. He didn't want to live his whole life clocking in and out for someone else. He wanted to create. And at the age of 27, he finally took the risk. With the little money he had saved and with loans hanging over his head, Daniel opened a coffee shop in his small town. It wasn't fancy. The walls were painted with his own hands, the chairs second-hand, the menu simple. But it was his dream. Every morning when he turned the key and smelled the first brew of coffee, he felt alive. At first, business was steady. Students stopped by on their way to class. Workers grabbed their morning coffee before shifts. Daniel greeted every customer with a smile, sometimes even learning their names and orders. For him, this wasn't just business, it was purpose. But life is unpredictable. Within months, an economic slowdown hit the town. People cut back on spending. Customers who once visited daily now came once a week. Families tightened their budgets. And slowly, the seats in Daniel's coffee shop became empty. Bills started piling up. Electricity, rent, supplies, all demanding to be paid. His savings vanished. His small team quit one by one, chasing stable jobs. One night after closing, Daniel sat alone in the shop. The chairs were stacked, the lights dim, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound. On the counter lay a pile of unpaid bills like silent enemies staring him down. In that moment, he felt crushed under the weight of failure. His heart whispered, "Maybe you're not cut out for this. Maybe your dream was foolish. Maybe you're not enough." Tears burned his eyes, but no one was there to see them. That night, Daniel locked the shop door and walked home with shoulders heavy, wondering if he should give up. This was his fall. But this story isn't about falling. It's about what happened next. The next morning, Daniel woke before the sun. He couldn't sleep. His thoughts were loud, filled with doubts and regrets. He walked outside into the cold air, hands shoved into his pockets. The streets were empty. The world was still asleep. He kept walking aimlessly until he found himself at the edge of town, where the sky began to lighten. There he stopped. The horizon was changing. From black to deep purple, from purple to orange. And then slowly, the sun broke through the darkness. In that moment, Daniel felt something stir inside him. The night had ended. The light had returned. It was a quiet reminder. Storms don't last forever. Daniel realized that his business might have failed, but he hadn't. He was still breathing, still alive, still capable. He made a choice that morning. Instead of giving up, he would try again. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. His comeback didn't begin with a grand plan. It started with one small step he ran. Just 1 mile, it wasn't much. His lungs burned, his legs ached. But when he finished, he felt different, clearer, stronger. That run became a daily habit. And while he ran, his thoughts began to shift. Instead of replaying his failures, he started thinking about possibilities. Instead of asking, "Why me?" he asked, "What now?" By the 30th day, Daniel wasn't just running. He was rebuilding his mind. Daniel decided not to close the shop. Instead, he reinvented it. He knew he couldn't compete with big coffee chains, so he focused on what they didn't have: community. He introduced affordable breakfast deals for workers and students. He learned how to bake pastries himself, waking up at 4 a.m. to prepare fresh bread. He added bookshelves with free books for anyone who wanted to read. He created a space where people felt like they belonged, and slowly word spread. One customer turned into 5, 5 into 10, 10 into 100. The same shop that once stood empty now buzzed with laughter and conversation. The aroma of fresh bread and coffee drifted into the streets, drawing people in. Daniel wasn't just running a shop anymore. He was creating a home for the town. But let's pause here, because this isn't really about coffee, it's about life. Your fall may not look like Daniel's. Maybe it's not a failed business. Maybe it's a broken relationship, a lost job, a dream that slipped away, but the truth remains the same. Falling is not failure. Staying down is, the world won't remember how many times you stumbled. It will remember how many times you got back up. Daniel's story proves something we all need to hear. Resilience is not about never breaking. It's about piecing yourself back together. Discipline is not about never failing. It's about showing up even when failure has left scars. Hope is not about waiting for light. It's about walking through the darkness until you find it. If you are listening to this right now, maybe you're in the middle of your fall. Maybe life feels heavy and you don't know how to move forward, but hear this. Your story isn't over. The storm is not permanent. The sunrise is waiting. All it takes is one step, one decision, one refusal to stay down. Years later, Daniel's coffee shop became the beating heart of his town. Students studied there. Families gathered there. Workers found comfort there. People admired Daniel's dedication. But few knew about the nights he cried, the mornings he doubted himself, the storm he walked through, and that's how life works. The world often forgets the fall, but it always remembers the rise, so remember this. Life will knock you down, dreams will collapse, failures will bruise you, but your power is not in avoiding the fall, it's in rising after it. Because every sunrise is proof that no night lasts forever. And one day when you rise again, the world will not remember the storm you endured. It will remember the strength with which you walked out of it.